personal story, Alan Mathew.
Let me go now. My experience with cheating during a university examination paper. Fellow Toastmasters and most welcome guests. It was the year 2001 when I was doing Bachelor of Computer Science. And I was an average student or an above average student, especially with the specializations that I'd taken. I'd taken computer science, maths, and statistics. Who knew that this is what I was going to do in an examination? It was the fourth semester examination, and something which everyone looked forward to because these grades were going to go to the next level if you want to do your master's. So it was the fourth semester examination, and on the day of the examination, my friend Sobin Paul comes to me and says, Alan, I have actually come prepared for the computer science paper. And I said, Sobin, is the maths paper today, you idiot? I knew he had not prepared. And I knew that somewhere he's just making up an excuse. The next thing he's asked me, Alan, I want you to help me out in the paper. After a lot of insistence, I agreed on it. Now, the seating arrangement in the examinations was based on the last name, and he was seated just behind me. Now, before the examination, I told him, the way I'm going to help you is, I'm going to write out a major part of my first supplement, so you'll get multiple supplements. I told him that I'm going to write out the major part of my supplement. And after I finish my first supplement, I'm going to place this aside so that you can start copying it from there. Luckily, the supervisor was a lenient one. It was Mrs. Helen, and she knew me very well. So, Sobin got confident on the fact that, oh, this is an opportunity to copy. 10 minutes into the examination, Sobin poked me from behind. Alan, I'm totally blank on this. I do not know what to write in my paper. I said, I can't do anything right now. It's 10 minutes into the examination. I've not even started writing my paper. Then Sobin said, it's Miss Helen. Why don't you pass on the paper to me? And I said, no ways I'm doing that. After an hour or so, after I finished my first supplement, Sobin said, please pass on the paper to me. I am going to fail otherwise. And I did that. Luckily, Miss Helen didn't catch because she was right there and she was a casual supervisor. So she didn't end up catching us. That's when I got my first lesson. If you do a crime or a cheating and it doesn't get caught, you tend to do it the next time. Day 2. It was the statistics paper. And again, Sobin was not confident about how the paper goes. Though this time around, we did the same thing. I passed on my answer sheet to him and he started copying. But this time around, it was Mr. Jerry, who was our supervisor, who was smart and strict. 2.5 hours into the examination, Mr. Jerry came around, besides us. And Sobin, my friend, who was sitting behind me, had 6 supplements of paper. Mr. Jerry knew for sure that Sobin is not that smart enough to have 6 supplements of paper. Then Miss Jerry asked Sobin, Sobin, can I have those papers? He said, so let me finish up the paper first, then I'll give you the papers. But Miss Jerry said, after a lot of insistence, Sobin had to hand over the papers to Mr. Jerry. Now, when Mr. Jerry saw it, there were two different handwritings. I had a pretty small handwriting, and Sobin had a pretty large one. So Mr. Jerry could actually distinguish those papers. We were caught red-handed. Now it was time for rescues. So the papers had fallen down, and Sobin accidentally took the paper. All were lame. We tried our level best such that Mr. Jerry doesn't take it to the next level. Nothing worked. Now, the way it happened in our college was the fact that if any cases of cheating or plagiarism happens, it would go to a committee, and the committee would review it. We tried all our tricks in the book to go in front of the committee and plead not guilty. But I realized it's not going to work. I had let my professors down in many ways because I was a decent student. On the day I went to the committee, I saw two of my favorite professors right in front, and I had no words in front of them. But it remains with me throughout my life. And I opened up and I honestly said what happened. Luckily, after the committee meeting happened, I did come to know that I was excused because the sports director had put some recommendations for me and I got moved to the next level. Sobin, unfortunately, couldn't. He had to repeat that same year. Now, to think over it, Sobin and me are still friends. And we are still very good friends. But the moral of the story here is that failing in a test can keep away from the grand scheme of things. But honesty and character goes a long way. Thank you.